Now you know how public domain materials are defined and how you can use them. The next job is to know where and how to find these materials. Now there are lots of options available. To get the ball rolling, let's start with the most obvious online search resource, the major search engines. If you search Google using these terms, you'll find hundreds of public domain publications, images and movies. Public domain content, public domain materials, public domain books, public domain ebooks, public domain pictures, public domain photos, public domain images, public domain movies, public domain videos, public domain works, and public domain library. All of these search terms pull up pages of relevant search results. Don't limit yourself only to Google, as the results produced by different search engines will often differ too. For this reason, try running the same searches with Yahoo and Bing to see what additional materials you find. Furthermore, using the AdWords keyword research tool to locate additional public domain related keyword terms will uncover plenty to use in your additional research. The URL for this tool is rather long, so if you just do a search in Google for AdWords Keywords Tool, you'll be directed straight to this page. If there are millions of documents on the internet already, and there are countless billions that have never made it online as of yet. Every library in every town and every city has thousands of books, periodicals and other public domain materials that have never been digitized. Although there would be some work in bringing these materials to the net, it can be done. Most importantly, there is plenty of money to be made in return for your efforts for a couple of reasons. To begin with, and perhaps most obviously, the materials have never been published on the net before. Consequently, you will be the very first to put these materials online. When you're working with materials that have been used before, you already know that you should probably modify them if you expect to maximize your profits. In other words, there's work involved. The same would be true when you bring offline materials online for the first time too. The difference, however, is the fact that a new digital product based on public domain materials that have never been seen before would be completely unique and you'd be the sole owner of it. It therefore follows that a product of this nature should sell for whatever price you charge for it. For this reason, putting in the extra effort to bring an offline product online can be easily justified. There are also ways that you can cut the necessary work down. You can't avoid some time and effort completely, but what is needed can be reduced. What you need is a scanner to scan any offline works that you want to use on your computer. Doing so enables you to digitize whatever it is that you're planning to bring online, and this in turn allows you to work with the content quickly and easily. You can only do this, however, if you have the right kind of scanner and/or scanning software, as your requirements are going to vary depending on the type of job you need to do. For instance, you may be considering creating posters, pictures, or even printing T-shirts based on public domain images. This could be a very sound business idea, as there are lots of people willing to spend money on such products, especially if the images are genuine antiques. To do a job like this, an ordinary scanner should be adequate, although the image quality produced by the scanner is important. What it does is it copies an image, which is exactly what you need. The same is, however, not true if you want to scan and edit printed text, because this will also be copied as an image by a standard scanner. Thus, you can't edit the text using a text editor in the way you must if the end product is to be your own. For this reason, you'll need a scanner with optical character recognition, otherwise known as OCR, to scan your content as text rather than an image. If you don't have a scanner that currently has OCR, you can download this free software that converts your scanner into an OCR-enabled machine. The free version of this software may struggle a bit with more complex jobs, but it's perfectly capable of handling simpler tasks. And you can download this software from simpleocr.com. Having a scanner that produces editable documents enables you to add an introductory section to the report and a final chapter very quickly. I would also recommend editing the document to tidy it up and modernize the language. This makes it easier for your readers to relate to your content, and therefore the finished product is more attractive. Remember that when you include public domain materials in your product, those materials remain public property to be used by anyone. It's only the content that you add over which you own the copyright. If, however, you have edited, modernized, and generally tidied up the original materials, it blurs the line between what is and what is not content that you created. For this reason, your claim of an all-encompassing copyright that protects the whole of your product from plagiarism is considerably stronger. Hence, you're far less likely to find others trying to copy your work and attempting to get away with it. There are many sites that specialize in public domain content materials. If you were to take all these sites together, I would seriously doubt whether there is any subject that's not covered in one way or another. You can't therefore afford to ignore any of these resources. I highlighted the New York Public Library site as a source of high quality historical imagery in a previous video, and it's a good place to start if you're looking for public domain images. It was also suggested that one rich source of public domain materials that many marketers ignore are works produced by government employees in the course of their duties. Consequently, many of the graphics and images that can be accessed through the links on the USA.gov site, which you can find here, usa.gov, are in the public domain. Be aware, however, that some of the images available through the site are copyright protected. You must therefore check the license attached to any image you find by following the link before using it. And this is true even if everything suggests that the image is in the public domain. Now, how do you do that? Well, let me just click here. I used the USA.gov site to find this particular image, which is on the Library of Congress website. And what you need to do is just click underneath where it says about this image. And then you get all the information about it. And if I scroll down, you can see here where it says rights advisory, and it says here for this particular image, no known restrictions on publication. And this is what I would expect, because this image is dated in 1901, and so it certainly implies that you can use it in any way you like. Now, as I pointed out, ascertain the exact rights attached to a particular image is your responsibility. For me, as far as this particular image is concerned, I'd probably take the chance and use it if it fitted the job that I was trying to use it for, but the choice of whether you do additional research or not is yours and yours alone. Show you some other sources here. This is another good one, the Government Printing Office website, and you can find it here at gpo.gov. And then there's this website here, which is the US government's Browse Topics website, which is browsetopics.gov. And you can also find thousands of public domain documents, images and movies on the National Archives and Records Administration site, which is this one here, which is archives.gov. And it's a goldmine of high quality free materials and information, particularly if you're interested in historical documents, old movies and so on. And then there are the academic public domain resources, such as this one here, which is the online books page from the University of Pennsylvania, which you've got two URLs. There's this one here that they actually publish on the web page, and this one that you'll be directed to, which is digital.library.upenn.edu/books. And then there's also, let me just move these down a bit, this one here, which is from Northwestern University Library. This is quite a long URL, so if you just do a search in Google for Northwestern University Library government information, it'll take you to this particular page. And this particular library here at Northwestern University has a federal document depository, and it's had it for more than a century. And these are, of course, in addition to the previously mentioned Library of Congress sites. Another excellent resource if you're looking for public domain content of any type, images, movies, old TV shows, music, audio materials and text, can be found at this one here, which is the archive.org website. It's archive.org, and this site has a massive store of old materials. There are nearly 500,000 moving image records, 90,000 live music recordings, over 800,000 audios, and more than 2.6 million text records indexed. Not all of these materials represent public domain content, but a quick check will highlight whether it is or is not in the public domain. Alongside archive.org, there are many other sites that specialize in moving or static images, and also music and other audio materials. Now, take a look at some of these if you're looking for non-written public domain materials. You've got LibriVox, which is LibriVox.org, and this is free public domain audio books. There's Wikimedia Commons, which is a great site. There's lots of public domain photographs and graphics on here. Not everything in this particular site is in the public domain, but it is all free to use. Some of them are released under a GNU license, which means that you have to credit the photographer or so on, but none of this stuff will actually require payment. Then there's this one here, PDInfo, which is pdinfo.com, and this is public domain music, and you get thousands of free songs from this particular site. Scroll down a bit further here. Then there's Sheet Music USA, which here sheetmusicusa.com, and as the name would suggest, this has lots of free sheet music. Then there's buyoutfootage.com, which is buyoutfootage.com, and this is hundreds of free movies and free moving images. Now, this next site here must be on your list because it's one that you generally can't afford to leave out of your research efforts, and this is Project Gutenberg, which you can find here at gutenberg.org. Now, Project Gutenberg is entirely voluntary, and it's dedicated to bringing as many offline public domain works as possible online, and it's a venture that you can actually volunteer to help with. To begin with, there are in excess of 33,000 public domain ebooks available for instant free download, and many of these books are already formatted for popular devices such as an iPad, a Kindle, an iPhone, or any device that's powered by Android. And using these pre-formatted ebooks is yet another way of repositioning your business and marketing activities. And many of the books on the site are available in several different languages, and some are offered as free audiobooks as well. And the Project Gutenberg site is one of the most widely recognized public domain authority sites on the net, and as you can see here, it has a Google PageRank of 8 out of 10, and this proves that the site has been very highly indexed by Google. So it's a site that no one who has a particular interest in written public domain content can afford to ignore. After exhausting the resources of the Project Gutenberg site, the next site to look at is iBiblio, which you can see here is ibiblio.org. And as the name suggests, this is a site that carries or links to a massive written work. It also features some less well-known forms of public domain materials such as software. The site terms itself the Public's Library and Digital Archive, which accurately describes what the site is and what it does. And it features one of the largest online information databases gathered together into a fascinating series of collections. Once again, you should not assume that every title featured is available in the public domain. However, as with the previous examples, Many of the materials available through iBiblio can be used by anyone for any purpose. It's just a question of checking what you can and can't do before taking any action. Another free library site through which you can source many public domain books is ReadPrint, which you can find here at readprint.com. And this is a collection of thousands of classic written works that you can read online. If you actually want a copy of any work to use in your marketing efforts, you'll either have to find some way of downloading it from the site or be willing to buy the book in question. Even so, ReadPrint is a great research resource that you can profitably use to pinpoint books that best serve your purposes before spending any money. Another similar online library resource is abebooks.com, and as you can see there is also a UK version, abebooks.co.uk. And this is another site where you can quickly pinpoint a particular title whenever you're looking for something specific. One of the advantages of this site is that if you have to buy a book, you do so directly from the distributor. Consequently, the price you pay is often lower than it would be elsewhere. The final resource to investigate when you're looking for public domain content is Alibris, and you can find it here at alibris.com. Now, the thing that I really like about this site is the fact that it's searchable by date. Knowing that everything published in the USA before 1923 is in the public domain, then having the availability to search by date makes this an invaluable source of suitable content. As with all of your research, you must check that the information shown on the home page is correct to ensure that you're genuinely using public domain materials. Assuming that the information is correct, however, this is another excellent searchable source of public domain content. Okay, with all this public domain information, there's probably one big question running around your mind right now, and I'll answer it in the next video.